Welcome class 7 students. I am Ann ma'am. Today I am going to discuss the chapter The Interior of the Earth. We have already discussed this chapter in previous audio clippings. Today I am again discussing this chapter because this chapter you have in your half yearly examination. So we have to elaborately discuss this chapter. Let us start. If you follow this diagram and if you imagine that this is the shape of an earth, then for knowing the interior portion of the earth, at first we have to know how our earth was formed. How the earth was formed. Actually, in the previous classes, we have read that our earth was not at present shape as usual at 5 billion years ago. At that time, it was a molten ball of rock. It was a molten ball of rock. And a huge explosion was happened at that time in the universe. And that was known as the Big Bang Theory. By that gigantic explosion, our Earth or our universe was formed. By this way, our Earth can be divided into different types of layers. So what are that different types of layers? If we imagine that earth shape or the earth's layer by human body, then we will notice that similarly in our human body, it has three parts. This one has upper part, this one is middle part, and this portion is lower part. Similarly, this uppermost portion is known as the upper part or the crust. Then the very deep portion, it is known as core, and the region, this region between core and crust, it is known as mantle. So our earth has three different layers: core, mantle and crust. Now we will discuss about the crust. The crust is the uppermost layer of the earth, and crust has two different parts, that is upper crust and number 2 lower crust. Upper crust is known as Sial and lower crust is known as Sima. Now Si for silica and Al for aluminium. So Si plus Al, it is known as Sial. Then Sima, Si for silica and Ma for magnesium. So it is known as Sima. Actually, the upper crust or Sial makes up the continent's floor, and the lower crust or the Sima makes up the ocean floor. So Sial makes up the continent's floor and Sima makes up the ocean floor. This is the main difference. Our next point, mantle. Mantle is also divided into upper mantle and lower mantle. The upper mantle is a thin and stiff layer and it consists mainly silica, iron and magnesium. But the lower mantle, it is a zone of mixed minerals such as iron, magnesium, aluminium and silicon. Okay. So in this layer we can find mixed minerals. Next our layer is core. It is also divided into two parts. Number 1, upper core. Number 2, lower core. Now, what is core we have already discussed. The core is the innermost layer of the earth. The core is the innermost layer of the earth and its radius of the about 3500 kilometer. Now, the interesting thing is that the upper core is hot, but the lower core is extremely hot. although the upper core is so hot that it is in a molten manner, and it is hotter, and the lower core, it is though hotter, in such extreme pressure it remains solid. But we know that always the liquid thing will be in the upper portion, but in this case the thing is different. The upper core is so hot that it remains molten or liquid, and the lower core, though hotter, in such under extreme pressure it remains solid. We know that which core is in such an extremely heating position, that will be liquid, but this thing, in this case the thing will be different. The lower core is solid but the upper core is liquid. The lower core is solid due to under such extreme pressure, but the upper core is liquid due to its temperature. Now, if we discuss that how our earth can be divided into the physical behavior, then we can find another 3 different layers. What will be that layers? Number 1, lithosphere. Number 2, asthenosphere. And number 3, mesosphere. So if this question will come that what are the 3 main layers of the earth, then you will write that core, mantle and crust, 3 different layers. But if it will come that what are the 3 main layers based on physical behavior, if it will come that what are the 3 main layers based on physical behavior, then you have to write that lithosphere, asthenosphere and mesosphere, because we know that the layers which are made up, which makes up the earth's floor, that layers are always moving, and the plates on which plates our continents and oceans are standing, that plates are always moving. So based on the moving capacity, so that is known as physical characteristics. So based on that moving capacity or physical behavior, our earth's layer divided into 3 main layers: lithosphere, asthenosphere and mesosphere. The lithosphere consists of the crust and the outermost portion of the mantle. Okay, the lithosphere floats on top of a semi-liquid layer. Asthenosphere is known as semi-liquid. Why semi-liquid? Because it is known as semi-liquid means this layer is a capability of ductile or capability of bend, and this layer is looking like a elasticity manner. Okay, so this layer is known as semi-liquid layer, not so much hot, not so much solid and not so much liquid. That's why this layer is known as asthenosphere, and it is the ductile inner layer of the upper mantle. And next, the lowermost portion, it is known as mesosphere. The lower mantle is known as the mesosphere, and lithosphere is the solid. Actually, there is a relation between lithosphere and crust. Crust is also solid layer and stony layer, and lithosphere is also solid layer. Actually, lithos, L-I-T-H-O-S, lithos, this means stone. So from this name we can understand that this layer is totally made up with stone or different types of rocks. So that's why this layer is known as lithosphere. Then asthenosphere, which is not solid, is a semi-liquid. Next, the mesosphere, and mesosphere is a rigid. Rigid means easily breakable or not flexible. Rigid and brittle means not flexible and easily breakable. Now we will discuss about rocks and minerals. Why we have to read rocks and minerals? Because recently we are discussing that lithosphere is made up with some stony materials or some solid materials. That's why we have to read that some rocks and minerals, because rocks rocks is the outermost layer of the earth lithosphere, and it is totally made up with some solid materials. It is known as rocks. Now rocks are solid substances formed by one or more minerals. Rocks have minerals. Rocks are made up with minerals. One rock has different types of minerals, but minerals are naturally occurring substances that are usually solid or inorganic. No organic materials are present there. So solid and inorganic, and they have a definite chemical composition and a crystalline structure. You all have familiar with crystal, which has some shiny texture, so that is known as crystal. So minerals has crystalline structure. Now we will discuss about different types of rocks. Number 1, igneous rocks. Number 2, that is known as sedimentary rocks. And number 3, the last one, that is known as metamorphic rocks. Now at first we will discuss about igneous rocks. Actually, the hot lava flows out during volcanic eruptions. It cools down and solidifies over a period of time and forms igneous rocks. Igneous means fire. You know that in volcanic eruptions fires comes out. So that is formed out by that volcanic eruption. So igneous rocks are also called the primary rocks. The name of another name of igneous rocks are primary rocks, and it also has two different types, extrusive and intrusive. Igneous has two different types, extrusive and intrusive. Extrusive rocks means that they have a fine grained structure. So we can, as an example, we can say that basalt. And the intrusive rocks means magma that gets trapped in veins deep inside the earth. It is known as intrusive rock. Okay. Look at the diagram. Suppose this is a volcanic mountain, okay, and in this place it is known as magma chamber. This is known as vent. Vent means this is a channel of the upper portion and the inner portion of the volcanic mountain, and this is a magma chamber. In this vent portion or in this portion, if any igneous rocks are formed, then this is known as intrusive rock. But if the magma comes out in that space, outer space, this portion is known as crater. Crater means the opening portion of any volcanic mountain, which is known as crater. Okay, so in this channel in this channel, if magma comes out in the outermost portion, then in this place, when it solidifies and cools down, then some rocks are formed. Then it is known as extrusive rocks. So in this way, extrusive and intrusive, in this portion intrusive rocks are formed. So if it is a volcanic mountain, then we will notice that in this portion which is deep inside the volcanic mountain, it is in this place intrusive rocks are formed. But if the magma goes out and goes to the outer portion of the volcanic mountain, then it is known as extrusive rocks. The main example of the extrusive rock we can say basalt, and the example of intrusive rock, it is, I think it is not written in your book, it will be granite. Okay, so it is igneous rocks. Then sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks, we have already read that over a period of several thousand years, sediments carried by agents of gradation like water, ice, wind and the sea are deposited in layers over the earth. And the sedimentary may consist of weathered and fragmented, that means pieces, rock materials, microorganisms and plant and animal remains. So as the deposition of sediments built up, the pressure exerted by the upper layer squeezes the sediments into layered rocks called sedimentary rocks. If we notice, then we will see that suppose this is a mountainous area and this is a plain area. In this portion, suppose any river comes out and goes to this portion, lower portion. I have already told that when any river comes from the mountainous region, then it carries some material. Which type of materials? Some stones, some pebbles, some gravel, some silt, some sediments, etc. When that will come with the river water, then that river water when slow down in our area, because the mountainous area has, the river has extreme velocity, extreme speed, but in our area, in the plain area, you know that in our area the Ganga has not any so much capacity of flowing capacity. So in our area, in the plain area, the river deposits here some sediments, some pebbles, some gravel, some solid materials. So when that type of thing gathered together and gathered here layer by layer, so after a long time it is made up with, and it is turned down, sedimentary rocks, because these rocks is made up with sediments, which sediments are comes from the mountainous area through the plateau area and then it gathered into the plain area. Understand? So what are the main examples of the sedimentary rocks? We can say shale, sandstone, conglomerate. These are the main examples of sedimentary rocks. Then metamorphic rocks. Actually, metamorphic rocks has a relation with igneous and sedimentary. Metamorphose or metamorphic, this term comes from that change. Meta means change. When igneous rocks or sedimentary rocks change their characteristics and turns into a new rocks, then it is known as metamorphic rocks. And metamorphic rocks may be further metamorphosed. Metamorphosed means they can change their characteristics if they are exposed to high heat and pressure. for even longer periods of time. Then it will be turned into the metamorphic rocks. So if this will come that write examples of metamorphic rocks, then you are not able to write in any one rocks. You have to write, suppose, limestone into marble, because limestone is the example of sedimentary rocks. When it turns into marble, then it is known as metamorphic rocks. And there are different types of examples are written in your book. So these are the main three types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary and metamorphic. Then we have to discuss about the minerals. If we want to discuss about minerals, then our minerals also had different types of types. Minerals can be classified into metallic minerals and non-metallic minerals. What is about metallic minerals? Metallic minerals are minerals that contain one or more metallic elements. And metals are usually hard with shiny surfaces. They have a shiny characteristics, and they can be hammered into thin sheets or stretched into words, like electric words, and are good conductors of heat and electricity. These are the characteristics of the metallic minerals. If it will come that write some characteristics of metallic minerals, then you can write that in point wise. It is totally written in your book, and the example is iron, copper and bauxite. Iron, gold, etc. And what is about non-metallic minerals? Non-metallic minerals are those that do not contain extractable metallic elements, which is not extractable, which cannot be comes from that elements. They also lack a metallic shine in their appearance. So the difference is, metallic minerals has a shiny texture, but non-metallic minerals had not any shiny appearance. And the example is limestone, mica, gypsum. As an example, we can say limestone, gypsum, etc. So these are the main thing of metallic minerals and the non-metallic minerals. And you also have to read the examples of fossil fuels, which are the source of energy that developed within the earth over millions of years. And the examples are main examples of fossil fuels: coal, petroleum and natural gas. You also have to read the definition of fossil fuels and the examples. Okay. Now at the very end portion, we have to discuss the rock cycle. Rock cycle means, in this term, we have to understand that when igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks and metamorphic rocks are related in some manner, then it is known as rock cycle. And I have already discussed that when in any volcanic mountain the igneous rocks comes out, then that igneous rocks, when solidifies and cools down, then it is comes by some weathering action, by the suppose river water or glacial water, they come into the mountainian portion to the plain area. So that portion, that materials are gathered, and by a longer of year, they are known as sedimentary rocks. So when igneous rocks goes with the river water and gathered in the plain area by sediments, then it is turned into the sedimentary rocks. And when that sedimentary rocks or any igneous rocks when change their characteristics, inner characteristics, and with the heat and extreme heat and some weathering action, then it is turned into the metamorphic rocks. And when at the very last portion, When under extreme heat every rock melts to become magma, thus rock transfer from one to another. So each rocks is interrelated with each other: igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks. And at the very last position, metamorphic rocks are further turned into magma with some extreme heat. Okay, so the magma will next turn into the igneous, then also another, the next rock sedimentary, and the last position metamorphic. In this way the cycle is goes on. So that's why this is known as rock cycle. Now we have to discuss some uses of rocks and minerals, because rocks and minerals have some uses. We have to read it. What are the uses? The minerals in the soil provide nutrients that plants need. So minerals have some nutrients, because minerals provide soil the nutrients. So the nutrients is very much needed for the plants. Then hard and large blocks of rocks are used for constructional work. So constructional work, in this constructional work the hard and large blocks of rocks are used. Then we know that different types of precious metals like gemstone, it is also used in the making jewelry. So these are also the uses of rocks and minerals. Then rocks with adequate mineral content like ores are used in industry, because we all are known that that in every industry there are a huge use of different types of rocks and minerals. So these are the main summary of this chapter, the interior portion of the earth. So in this chapter, from this chapter you have to read that what are the different types of layers, and the another 3 different types of layers according to the physical behavior. Okay, and their examples, their definition, then the relation between rocks, minerals, and their types, their cycle, and the uses. So these are written in this chapter. I think you all are clear, and you know that which diagram is important. We have already discussed it. So thank you, students.